And the first goal was a great assist to a guy who's all-conference, maybe the best player in the American, the men, Lineker Rodriguez dos Santos. And I can't remember who assisted, but he was to the left side of the goal in the 6-yard box and just lofted a little kick, a little chip, right to the head of dos Santos, and he put it right through to make it 1-0. Then he made a great move in like the 27th minute, maybe something like that, where he spun around and just drilled it to the right corner. That was terrific. That made it 2-0. That's the way it was. Then, really and truly, the Tigers were outplayed in the second half. And SIUE, you could see why they had not lost a game all year. First of all, they'd never given up 2 goals in the first half. And they came firing back, and the critical minute came in about a critical moment came, I think it was like the 30th minute, something like that, in the 25th, 30th minute, somewhere in there, where the Tigers got the ball top of the box to dos Santos, and the goalie came out and just literally took him out. I mean, he was right above the 18 box, and he didn't even make a play on the ball. He just went and took dos Santos out. And the referee immediately gave him a red card. So now they're down to 10, and that was basically the game. They kept fighting, but Memphis played smart, and they end up into the second round. So that was really good. Now the Tigers basketball team plays tonight, and I love this. CBS's David Cobb, who's on a multitude of shows here, used to write for the Commercial Appeal, and good kid. I think he's a native Memphian. David Cobb has Memphis ranked 8th in his power rankings this week, right above Marquette. 8th, based on chemistry, experience, and the fact that they beat the heck out of Missouri at Missouri in the second half. So tonight is the last game for Rick Stansbury as the head coach. They bring into play Tony Madlock. I love that Penny is so loyal to his guys, right? I mean, Memphis wouldn't be playing Alabama State if it wasn't for Tony Madlock. They wouldn't be playing Lane College in an exhibition game if it wasn't for the little general, Andre Turner. He's so good to do those kinds of things. And this is not a bad Alabama State team. They beat Oglethorpe by 64. They were hanging with Ole Miss. They were down 1 with 12 minutes to go. I think they actually led at the half in that game. Chris Beard's new conglomeration of talent that's going to get better as the year goes on. And then they played decently at Iowa, too. So this is the final gimme for the Tigers, at least till the conference play. Last time with Stansbury at the helm. And who will be the starting lineup? We'll have to wait and see on that. You know, I was just chatting around. I think Javon Quinley is the highest NIL guy on the Memphis team. I think Jordan Brown may be number 2 because there were a lot of fanciers for him. And he's not in the starting lineup, and Malcolm Dandridge is. He's getting the starter minutes. And Malcolm, it's better for Malcolm not to because you want Malcolm to last. But I wonder if that's the way it will continue. We'll see what the starting lineup that Penny and Rick Stansbury put together tonight. All right, we better get to this before it is too late. We got to make picks. I'll let you know. We're sitting in the Family Leisure Studio. Don't forget the overstock inventory sale still going on. They want to clear stuff out, bring stuff in. 50% off patio setups, play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in stock. It's got to be there. That's hot tubs and swim spas. And then if you're closing your pool, 30% off on all those items. It's the clearance sale going on at Family Leisure. You know our title sponsor, that's Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That's also the home of Genesis of Olive Branch. They do have the great technological luxury cars, the Genesis cars. I think the best things on the market. They've got them right there at Craft Road and Highway 78. Highway 78's Lamar. It's the first exit in Mississippi, turn left. This is the house that Chris True built. And by the way, they're moving to downtown. We'll tell you about that a little bit later. But right now, right there, they've got a deal on the SUVs, that have the Genesis name, the SUV 70, the smaller one, the SUV 80. There is a sales price and a financial incentive on both those cars. Go see Vinny. Vinny Gerard is over Genesis of Olive Branch. All right, we got to make some picks. We make 4 in college football, 2 in the NFL. I am 20 games over 500 on the year. It is my greatest prognosticating year. Zach Boyd had a great week last week, 5-1. What's your overall numbers now?
I'm sitting at 18, 10, and 2.
18, 10. That is really good, too. And what are my overall numbers now? You're
at 42, 22, and 4.
Okay. We are marvelous. If I break my arm patting myself on the back. All right. So we've got Georgia -10 going to Knoxville. I don't think this is hard. Georgia wants to continue to maintain that they're number one. Tennessee's lost last week, took a lot of luster off the Vols. I think Georgia's got everything to play for. They want to stay in that number one spot. I think Georgia's going to cover the 10.
Yeah, forgot about Brock Byers' return on the field last week. So give me Georgia -10.
All right. Washington, sitting on the outside at number 5. They want to make sure they're in. Oregon State, a lot of people think Oregon State's going to win this game. In fact, Vegas has them as 1-point favorites. I think Washington's playing for everything, and I love Michael Penix Jr. I'm going to go with Washington.
I would not be surprised if Oregon State pulls an upset, but I got to go with Washington on the road.
Wow. So we're the same. Florida at Missouri. I think Missouri made their point last week. The way they manhandled Tennessee. And Florida is playing to try to get bowl eligibility. They got to win this week or Florida State next week. Both highly unlikely. But Missouri's given up 11. I don't care. I think Missouri is for real. They're playing to stay in a position to get into a New Year's Day 6 bowl. I think Missouri wins the game and covers.
Keep the drinks flowing. Mizzou at 11.
Wow. We're on par here. Now North Carolina is at Clemson. Clemson is a 7.5-point favorite in this game. I don't trust Clemson. I just don't. Every time it's been a big game, they self-destruct. I'm going to take the 7.5. I'm going to go with North Carolina.
You know, I really don't know who to pick in this game.
It's tough. I agree.
Because North Carolina, they haven't played well the last few weeks.
They do have the better quarterback.
They do, and that's the only thing. I think the 7.5 might be a bit much. So I'm taking Clemson.
Okay. We go against each other finally for one game. All right, in the NFL, real quick, we got Glenn Rogers Jr. we got to get to here in a second. Minnesota is at Denver. Denver, all of a sudden, Sean Payton's team, Russell Wilson seems to be getting it together. They're -2. They're not beating Joshua Dobbs. This is the story of the year. Minnesota is a good team. They were lacking a good quarterback. Cousins goes down. Dobbs has become the story. I still don't trust Denver. I don't think they're any good. I want Minnesota.
Let the good times roll. Dobbs and Minnesota.
Okay. So we only differ on one so far. And then the final game, and we won't know until Tuesday morning when we come in to gloat or be sad. And that is Philly at Kansas City. I love home field advantages. It's only 2.5. It's like a pick'em game. I'm not going against Patrick Mahomes and the defending champions. I'm going to stay with Kansas City. I'll give away the 2.5 to Hurts and the Eagles.
I'm taking Kansas City.
Okay, so we only disagree
with
on
Clemson
the one
North
game.
Carolina?
Wow, that's incredible. All right, let's hope we have been as good as we have been all year. We should remind everybody this portion of the program is brought to you by the great people at Conway. Conway Services, heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric. And the great thing about these folks is they will come to your rescue. They seem to do it all the time. Reputable services available 7 days a week. Just make the call, 384-3511. That's the number for Conway. So we have our picks in, but now we got to get our coaches' picks in on high school football as we have gotten to the quarters of the public playoffs, the semis of the private playoffs, and we get to this situation. Usually we got plenty of teams from the western portion of the state in. Not this year. Just 6 teams remaining. How disappointing is that? Glenn, I've been raising my voice, yelling at the people that do the voting for the AP on the state polls that Memphis doesn't, or the western part of the state doesn't get fair representation. But based on what I'm seeing now, maybe I've been wrong all this time.
Well, good morning, Dave. You and all our listeners. And, we've said this all along for many years now. Football in middle and eastern Tennessee is taken very, very seriously. And all you got to do is drive up and down the highway on 40 and take some stops at some of these schools. And when you see the football facilities and the stadiums, you go, wow. And we lost last week to a Knoxville Catholic team that was led by former Tiger Steve Matthews. And so,
really,
we lost. Yeah,
I did not realize that Knoxville Catholic's coach is Steve Matthews.
He's the co-head coach, Dave. He's the co-head coach.
I love that.
I've never heard of that.
I love that guy,
yes.
And I think he would have been, had he not gotten injured in the Ole Miss game the way he did. I think he would have been a 10-year quarterback in the NFL. I really do.
Oh, absolutely. It was good to see Steve, and they knocked us off, and they had a great game plan. And just hats off to our seniors who, we've been through a lot this year with the loss of Deion Stutz, but our seniors 9-2. Ranked number 1 here on our side of the bracket. Just tremendous regular season for our guys. And we got a young man, Hudson Soap, that's up at Mr. Football. So congratulations to him. And we got a couple of guys nominated on the Liberty Bowl All-Star team. So just been an outstanding year for our seniors and all of our team and the coaches.
Disappointing, though, that only 6 teams still remain, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. But I'm going to tell you, Dave, the better teams are playing right now. The cream de la cream, the cream of the crop are playing, and which we were one of them. And the way the ball bounces sometimes. But I tell you, Germantown, Houston, Covington, Southwind. These are some good teams. They've been good all year, and my hat's off to them, and good luck to them tonight. And hope they keep marching on.
All right, let's get to these games that Memphis has teams in, and we'll start with, you mentioned it, Houston 9-2, Germantown 12-0. Houston has averaged 41 points a game since they lost 14-13 to Germantown. Germantown has allowed only 20 points twice this year. This game, well, we know from the first game, it's anybody's ball game. Who will win this one, Glenn Rogers Jr.?
Dave, this game is like a big-time heavyweight fight. It's like Ali versus Frazier, Ali versus Norton. So this is a game that's well worth the price of admission. You got Gene Robinson, who's a defensive-minded coach, versus an offensive-minded coach out there in Houston. And so the first game went down to the wire. Germantown blocked the extra point to preserve the win, and it's going to be the same thing tonight, Dave. It's going to be like a heavyweight fight, a bunch of body blows, and who's going to get the knockout punch toward the end. I think I'm going to give the nod to Germantown. I think Gene has just so many athletes on both sides of the ball, 2,000-yard rushers, and his defense is stout. He got 3 guys on defense committed to Power 5 schools. And I just think Germantown will get it done tonight and march on to the semifinals. I think they'll get it done.
Southwind 12-0. Henry County 11-1. Southwind's quarterback is a guy. His name is Perkins.
Yeah, Kelvin Perkins. He's a sophomore, Dave.
He's fantastic, but he's got to go a sophomore on the road. I don't know why they got to go to Henry County. They're 11-1. Southwind is a better record. I'm not sure how that works. I think that's tough though for Southwind. How will this play out?
Yeah, and I mean, Dave, Henry County has been the graveyard for these Memphis teams going up there, because what an atmosphere when you go up there to play. The whole town shuts down. It's football, a football frenzy town when their teams are doing well. Their teams have done well over the years, and so I think Southwind goes there tonight, Dave, and I tell you, it's going to be a war. It's going to be a barn burner. But I think Southwind can go in there and get it done. This young man, the team that Southwind beat last week, only lost to Henry County by 1 point. I think Kelvin Perkins goes in there. He can throw, he can run. He ran for 2 touchdowns last week, 2 for 3. I think they're going there and pull up the upset tonight, and it will be an upset because Henry County, like I said, that atmosphere will be electric tonight. It'll be rowdy. But I think Coach Griffin and my relative cousin, Coach Earl Lester, I think Southwind's defense is good enough to go in there and get the job done.
All right. Covington, 10-2, has to go to Dyersburg. Dyersburg won the regular season matchup 20-0. Covington's running back, Skyland Smith, has really been good. Last week he was terrific in the playoffs. He's going to have to be again.
Yeah, and, like I said, 2 teams, historic programs. Our good friend James Macklin, former Tigers from Covington, and same thing with Dyersburg going to Henry County. A hostile environment. The whole town will be at the game, and that's what I love. When you go to these small towns, Dave, everybody's at the football game, and what a sight to see. And, Dyersburg beat them last time, 29. I see Covington making it a little bit tougher. I think Dyersburg still will get the win because the home field advantage will be crazy.
Yeah, and they've already beat them once, 20-0. I'm with you there. All right, final game. Fairleigh, 9-2. I think they've been to the quarters now a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 years. Against Memphis Business Academy. So Fairleigh's 9-2. Memphis Business Academy is 8-3. I had to look it up. I could not find any info on Memphis Business Academy. I know they're a charter school. I know they're in Hickory Hill. I looked for their roster and their coach, and I couldn't find anything. This team's 8-3 though, and it's not their first year, so it's really been a pretty quiet story. But you'd have to figure Fairleigh would be the big favorite in this game, right? They've had 9 shutouts this year, by the way. Fairleigh's defense is impenetrable.
Yeah, Fairleigh's defense has been amazing, and they got a guy on offense, Dave, that can do some of everything. And so it'll be like I said, when you get to these quarterfinals, semifinals, these games, these coaches, they're geared up, and all these coaches. And I'm giving the nod to Fairleigh. I think Fairleigh goes in with that stout defense, and they're stingy tonight, and I think they get the ball in their best athletes' hands, and they pull off a win and march on to the semifinals.
I believe you just.
A historic run for Fairleigh.
I believe you just because I really don't know much about Memphis Business Academy, and I know Fairleigh's really got a good team this year. You would think that they would be the favorites. All right, my friend, we'll do this again next week. We're closing in on the end of the year. I'm disappointed. There's not as much representation of Western Tennessee schools. Just kind of a tough year, I guess.
It is. It is. And, like I said earlier, these Middle and East Tennessee schools, they just got the upper hand on us as far as, equipment, resources, and, they just got the upper hand on us in those areas. That's something we got to do when West Tennessee-wise is to get caught up football-wise, facility-wise to these teams in the Middle and Eastern Tennessee because they really shot past us. And you take a drive and you'll see it. And what a big game tomorrow for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Tomorrow for the Tigers. Big game tomorrow.
Real quick, give you 30 seconds. Tell me what you think's happened tomorrow with SMU.
Well, I tell you, our key is going to be the defense, Dave. Can we get some stops? And, we haven't been able to do that, but at times we've had to get a win against these lesser opponents. But SMU's formula, both records are the same, and I think it's going to be a knockdown, drag out, and hopefully we get the ball last and punch it in and keep our dream season alive. I think this is one of those storybook seasons for Ryan and his staff. And I'll be there tomorrow. My wife and I, my daughter, we'll be cheering the Tigers on like the rest of the crowd. I hope it's a big crowd tomorrow because we need it. We need it, Dave. We need support.
I think it's going to be. By the way, Zach Boyd, real quick, who won those 2 tickets? I always like giving out that info.
That was Matt.
Matt?
Yes.
Congratulations, Matt.
Congratulations, Matt. Yeah, we need all the help. Tiger fans, come on out. It's a blackout tomorrow, and my wife and I, my daughter works in the recruiting department. We're excited. It's going to be a fun day tomorrow. 11 o'clock game, so all the Tiger fans, get out and let's support our team.
No doubt about it. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week. That is Glenn Rogers Jr. He is brought to you by Eflin, the Eflin Insurance Team. They do the protection of you, your family, your home, your car, life insurance. They do it the collaborative way. They get to know you, what you're all about, what's important, what your budget is, and then they will protect you. Same thing with small to mid-sized businesses. They'll know your product, your employees. They kind of forecast you down the road. They see what your budget is, and they protect your business with commercial insurance. Just make this call, 901-386-GER, because they're big Tiger fans. They'll be there tomorrow. 901-386-4777. Get protected the collaborative way with the Eflin Insurance Team. And since the weekend is here, don't forget to go see my friend Eddie Connor, and I'm going to see him today, in fact, right after this show. I'm stocking up for the holidays. Maybe you need to as well, and there's no better place than 4848 Poplar in St. Nick, that little log cabin right down the street from Clark Tower. You've passed it by a million times. Perfect location in the heart of East Memphis. And they've been around forever. It's the Connor family. Eddie will educate you. He'll tell you what's special, what might not be so special, what's a real bargain, what's up and coming. And that can be anything from bourbon to tequila to the newest wines. Whatever spirit it may be, Eddie Connor knows, and he's got it for you. Just show up and tell him we sent you. Say hi to Eddie. Go to the Spirit Shop. We're back in just a minute. To Chicago, we will travel, and our agent Andy Schiffman on the Grizz and on the NBA. He's next.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Experience the taste of Italy at Little Italy's newest location in East Memphis at 6300 Poplar. Little Italy has great Italian food for all your friends and family, and it's all your favorite dishes, from lasagna to rigatoni vodka, Alfredo, even lobster ravioli. Try East Memphis Little Italy's very generous calzone, hot from the oven and stuffed with your choice of meats and perfectly melted cheeses. To celebrate East Memphis Little Italy's new location, with your purchase of an 18-inch pizza, get a bottle of Chianti for only 56 cents. East Memphis Little Italy wants to spoil you with a piece of Italy you can feel, taste, see, and enjoy, and eat. East Memphis Little Italy, 6300 Poplar, hidden in the back at the corner of Poplar and Massey. East Memphis Little Italy brings Italy to you.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Yo, Mark, long time no see. You still down at Dyer's?
Man, I'm not down at Dyer's. I'm out at Collierville Historic Town Square.
When'd you move out there?
We've been out there for about 13 years. We've got the shops, the park. We got the train the kids like to play on.
You still cooking those burgers the old-fashioned way?
Man, we're still flattening out those hamburger balls on a slab of marble and skillet frying them the old-fashioned way like they've been doing for 100 years.
Dude, you still have those onion rings.
Man, they're fantastic. Hand-breaded, served up just right.
I loved those milkshakes. Please tell me you're still doing those.
Man, we are hand-dipping those shakes, putting them in the old glass in the shake tin, served the old-fashioned way.
You got any new items out there I need to know about?
We're just doing a lot of gourmet sandwiches. We've got farm-raised catfish straight out of the Delta. We've got some hot tamales from Pasquale's Tamales out of Helena, Arkansas.
Man, are they served in the husk?
What those guys like to say, they're so good, you'll suck the shuck.
Go see my buddy Mark at Dyer's Cafe in Collierville's historic town square.
Ole Miss Rebel Yell is back. The Rebel Yell Hotline Radio Show is back on WHBQ Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Every Monday night at 6, hear the latest news on your Ole Miss Rebels with Yancey Porter with 24/7 Sports, former Ole Miss defensive tackle Mike Fitzsimmons, Gordon Ford covering SEC Sports Call, and former Ole Miss baseball announcer Gary Darby. From kickoff to free throw to extra innings, your Ole Miss Sports on the Rebel Yell Hotline Show right here Monday night at 6 on Sports 56 560 AM and 98.5 FM. Your Mid-South Sports Station.
Now, back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM, presented by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
To Chicago we go. Priority Sports Offices. Our agent, Andy Schiffman. Have you ever seen anything like this early in the year, like the Grizzlies have suffered? I mean, think about it. It's amazing to me. Your guy, Brandon Clark, out, and probably for the year, the way things are going. We know no Steven Adams for the year. Ja's, of course, out with a suspension. That's not part of the injuries. But now take Aldama didn't play for a while. He's back, and he's looking good. But no Marcus Smart. Kennard's got issues. Derrick Rose has missed the last 7 games. Can you remember any team with this many early injuries? Good morning.
I really can't, Dave. I really can't. And record-wise, look, we've all sat through tough Grizzlies starts, especially when they made the transition to Memphis years ago, and it took a while for them to really start winning and competing. But you're correct. In terms of a team this banged up this early on, those are few and far between, especially in Memphis. I think with my guy BC and Brandon, I think that, look, we're all optimistic we will see him this year. I was in L.A. for their game against the Lakers Tuesday, and he was there doing a little pregame work prior to tip-off, and we spoke for a little bit. So optimistic that unlike last week when I was pretty
I thought for sure forget him this year.
I think that there's optimism that we will see him maybe sometime around the All-Star break. But again, it still goes back to what does this Grizzlies team look like at that point in time? They are struggling. They're in trouble. And a lot of it is based on the injuries they've sustained, obviously with Ja being out. I am still, for one, optimistic that when Ja comes back, and hopefully they get some more healthy bodies, things will kind of start clicking. And there'll be enough time left in the season for them to turn it around, but it also opens the door for possibilities at the trade deadline in February.
Well, this is the most amazing thing to me, honestly. In the first 11 games, only 4 guys have been healthy enough to play in every game. That is Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., David Roddy, and Kenny Lofton Jr. He hasn't played in all the games, but he's been available in all the games. I don't know what they're going to do. If Smart's really hurt, when Ja is back in 25, well, what are they, 11? She got 14 games still to go. When Ja comes back, most people think there will be some sort of a cut which would allow Biyombo to stay. But if Smart, let's just say, is out for an extended period of time, now they're saying he's going to be reevaluated, that Rose is coming back, maybe second game against Boston at home this week, and Kennard is day-to-day. Maybe they won't be in dire straits, but could you see them keeping Gilliard as well if Smart's out for an extended period of time?
If Marcus is out for an extended period of time, I could see them keeping Jake Gilliard. He's performed in his role exceptionally well. And his role in this Grizzlies team is, look, you're not a long-term piece of our franchise. You're here as a stopgap to facilitate the offense, to move the ball, to defend as best as you can, given his size, but go out there and pass the ball, move the ball, find players and pick and roll, and when you're wide open, shoot it and become a threat. And he's done all that. And so I give him an absolute ton of credit. I love the role that he's playing and how well he's playing it. But I will say when they have all their guards back, I don't see him being around long term. I think with Biyombo, he could stick around. He signed for $5 million with only $1 million guaranteed, $1 million guaranteed, and that allows the Grizzlies to put him in a trade, and then his salary number for trade purposes becomes up to $5 million, so they could quickly guarantee the remainder of the $5 million salary, and then all of a sudden be that much more competitive in the trade market. So that was, let's say, the plan behind that contract, but it's not out of the question that they end up keeping Bismack for the full season.
I think he's better than most people thought he would be. My
he's
goodness,
a big to come
crazy.
in and provide size and defend and rebound. He does those things to a T.
Well, their first win, man, he was the reason they won the game, and they only got 2. So
yeah.
I'd say that's pretty important.
He's responsible for half of their wins this season.
All right, so tell me this. 14 games left without Ja. It starts with a back-to-back tomorrow, San Antonio on the road, then home against the Celtics, which are pretty darn formidable. Hey, what do you think is realistic of a record for the next 14 before Ja comes back?
Well, we've talked about it, and you look at the foreseeable future up until the end of November, right, Dave? So at San Antonio, that will be tough. They're very long, they're very athletic. Obviously, all the hype surrounding Wembanyama. They're playing up and down, but they're going to be at home, and it's always tough to win on the road. Boston at home is going to be very difficult to win. Even at Houston, they're playing right now really well. They're 6-3. I know Dylan Brooks is going to be amped up for that game on next Wednesday. And then you come home and play Phoenix, Minnesota, two teams playing very well, and then you play Utah again that got you at home. And you would like to think that they should beat Utah a second time around at home.
Well, they've lost twice to them already, game.
Exactly. So they may come out of this month with maybe one win, in all honesty. And then you look at the first part of December, does not get any easier at Dallas, at Phoenix, Dallas at home, at Houston, Houston at home, at OKC, at New Orleans. The Pacers at home on December 21st, and they're playing very well, Dave. But at home,
I was going to say
that may be win number 4 we're talking about.
Oh man, could you imagine?
I hope I'm wrong, and I think I'm wrong, but it's not out of the question.
So you're saying maybe 4-21 by the time Ja gets back? I mean, can you still make even a play-in position at 4-21?
Well, it's so early. You're still talking about the end of December, and then you got January, February, March, and half of April. So yes, you can. And again, I don't want to become a prophet here and say that's going to happen. They're going to be 4-21. I do think they'll win a few more. Obviously, there's going to be opponents they're going to play where all of a sudden their stars are maybe banged up or sitting out here and there. Maybe they'll get lucky and steal one that they have no business winning on the road. Look, this happens in the NBA, right? You see it all the time. So I'd like to be a little more optimistic, but I also consider myself a pretty objective, rational person, and it's not out of the question that's the record for the next 25. But we'll see. We'll see how things come together, and they just got to move the ball, Dave. I was at that Lakers game, and the Lakers picked them apart, and then they turned around and got their butts kicked by Sacramento 2 nights ago. And that game in particular against Memphis on Tuesday night, the Lakers moved the ball like the old San Antonio Spurs team, and the Grizzlies did not. And that was the difference in the game, I think.
Grizzlies were never in the game. AD absolutely, totally intimidated Triple J. All right, you mentioned Indy. I think if we're looking at the best surprises this year, Indy in the East maybe, and Houston in the West. Houston has a new hero in Dylan Brooks. He's going to be a subject in Sports Illustrated. The guy's shooting 53% even from 3. I mean, this is incredible. And he's taking shots at the Grizzlies for not supporting him last year. Are those the 2 best surprises so far, would you say?
I agree with you in the East with Indiana. I went to their home opener. They looked really good against the Wizards, but just long term with the pieces they have outside Tyrese Halliburton, I really didn't buy into them sustaining success long term. I just think looking around the East, though, Atlanta's a little bit surprising. They're 6-5. Again, it's so early; it's hard to put this on a trajectory of where they're going to be at the end of the season. Orlando's also another team that's playing really well. They're 6-5, and I think you're right in the West. Look, Houston's played well. They're 6-3. They're young. They like to. They're very quick paced, high octane offense. They shoot the ball great. A lot of athletes. I don't know how long that will be sustainable for the rest of the season, but if they at least get to the point where they're competing for a playoff spot or a play-in spot at the end of the season, they could be. Next year, they could turn into Oklahoma City and what they're doing this year.
Yeah, that's a good story
drafting
for sure.
well, getting some good young athletes and a good young core. And Minnesota's another team. Look, they're 8-3. They're playing really well. I'm excited to watch them the rest of this year.
Well, the West is so good. It's pretty incredible. I guess if we're looking for a bust, you could look for one in the West with Golden State Warriors, huh? And what's going on with Draymond Green. So it's interesting. I'm listening to both Tony Kornheiser and Barry Wilbon yesterday, and they're talking like Kornheiser's saying, well, they came strong, that Golden State 4 years ago when they were such television targets of ratings, that Draymond would have gotten a 1-game suspension, maybe 2 for this. He gets 5. Wilbon's going, are you kidding? No, they're still protective of Golden State. That should have been at least 10 to 15 game suspension on Draymond Green. What's your take? Is Draymond just out of his mind?
I think he let the adrenaline and emotion of the moment take over, and it's negative. You saw I don't know if you saw the comment from Steve Kerr, and he said, "Look, 5 games. I'm not surprised. That's warranted. What Draymond did was wrong. I have no problem with him trying to remove Rudy Gobert from play, but then to keep him for a good 6 or 7 seconds in a chokehold, that's uncalled for, and that's wrong. And Draymond knows it's wrong." And I'm with you a little bit. I do think that the NBA should have come down on Draymond a little bit more harsher, just because, and they've been very public with these comments. You see this time and time again from Draymond. This is not a first-time offense. This is a repeat offender. And how do you continuously let a team like the Warriors, if you're an NBA fan, and Draymond kind of sneak away with this for only 5 games when you see a lot more harsher penalties around the league when other players put their hands on players or fight, and you'll see massive fines. So it was a little bit surprising to me. It was unnecessary and disappointing that it happened that early in the game when the score was still 0-0 in that Minnesota game. But speaking of busts, look, I think the other team we have to talk about is Phoenix. And obviously they've played very few games with a healthy core of our guy Bradley Beal and Durant and Booker. And I think they'll get it figured out, and I still think they're going to be there at the end of the day to compete in the Western Conference Finals with Denver. I still put them in that regard, but they are struggling early on. I remember early in the season, just a couple weeks ago, getting beat back-to-back at home against San Antonio, which was a real shocker to me, but they just have not been fully healthy yet.
You know, one other team I want to talk about, and I think Dallas is a team that is really, really good.
No, for sure. And they came out hot last year and then just kind of fizzled. And obviously they made the trade with Kyrie and things are a little questionable there. There's been some alleged beef between the two now in the media. So you always have to be cognizant of that, especially if you're Jason Kidd and Mark Cuban and everyone there in Dallas, and just kind of having to manage those things and manage these egos. You see what's going on in the Clippers world these days with 4 superstars. Yeah. But I think Dallas has really turned the corner. I mean, our guy, Tim Hardaway Jr., is one of the best surprises on that team. He's playing out of his mind exceptionally well this year, shooting the ball great. He's had some big games. So if they can get some elite productivity from Tim, along with Kyrie and along with Luka, they could go very far. We keep talking about it, right? How sustainable is it? They have the roster to additionally compete for a Western Conference Finals or a finals berth. There's no question talent-wise, but where are they going to be as a team after the trade deadline into March, beginning of April, remains to be seen.
This is Luka's team. I know Mark Cuban knows that. I wouldn't be surprised if those two with Kyrie can't get along. Say goodbye once again to Kyrie, who's got a pretty good passport, let's just say, stamps collection, because he's been around a lot of places. As always, my friend, I love chatting with you. Have a great weekend. We'll talk again next week. And if I haven't told you, happy Thanksgiving, because I guess now that I'm thinking about this, I'm not sure we'll have a show next week. But happy Thanksgiving. How's that?
Well, I'll be ready if we do, and happy Thanksgiving as well. Thanks, Dave.
I appreciate it. That's our agent in Chicago. That is Andy Schiffman, and he is brought to you by Shell Dunn. You know, it's pretty crazy to think about somebody telling you to call their competition, but that's exactly what Shell Dunn with Mark Spensdorf does. Sheldon Rosengarten will tell you, if you're thinking of selling your home, talk to 2, 3, maybe 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure he's one of them. Now, that may sound crazy, but when people hear what Shell Dunn has done, all the success that he's had with that marketing strategic program that can make the difference in what you make and when. You know, they love to call him the worst golfer in town. They call him Mr. Three-Putter. But if you listen to him, because he's always working it, he'll give you what has worked for a long time, a process that includes preparation, presentation, proper pricing. You'll see why they call him Shell Dunn, because he gets you to the closing table. He gets your house sold. All you got to do is call 483-0546 or go to memphisrelocate.com. We will end our week as we always do, and there's 2, maybe really 3 big games coming up. Today, the women against Notre Dame in Fayetteville. You got the Tiger basketball team against Tony Madlock's squad tonight. And then tomorrow, the elimination game. We talk with Brian Dacus about all of that in a minute.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to Triumph Auto Sales, where you'll have a great car buying experience. Triumph Auto Sales is your #1 source of quality pre-owned vehicles ranging from lease returns to new car trades, all at huge savings. Plus, Triumph has a full array of financing options to meet your needs. Find your next car online at triumphautosales.com or stop in today at 4875 Elmore Road. Triumph Auto Sales will help you get the vehicle you want at the price you need and the service you deserve. For a great car and a great experience from a local and family-owned business, visit Triumph Auto Sales.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Now back to Sports 56 Mornings on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by East Memphis Ace Hardware at the corner of White Station and Quince. Here once again are Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy.
All right, I give out my first Rust medal. Zach Boyd.
A Rust.
Zach, this is the Wolo and Friends show. You're a part of it.
Yeah, I know. I know. That was on me. I apologize.
That's okay. We love you anyway. It's all right.
It's a Friday. I apologize.
It's rainy outside.
Oh, come on.
One of those days.
Let's just hope that the Tigers football team doesn't have a turnover like that tomorrow.
No. They don't need any turnovers. They need a perfect game against SMU.
No, they do. All right, we'll get to that. End of show. This is Brian Dacus. He joins us to end the week. Every Friday, there's 3 Tiger things going on. Yeah. Let's start. Let's start with what happened last night. Mm-hmm. How about the men's team?
How about it?
First time they've ever advanced in the NCAA tournament. I watched the game on TV. I did not go to it.
Right. Kind
of resting my
voice
and keeping my energy.
Big weekend.
Huge weekend. But I am just so happy for that team because they had a bad streak. They were not, and most people didn't think they'd make the tournament. And then they get to host SIUE, a team that hadn't lost all year.
Yeah.
None of these NCAA. Here's the one thing about the NCAA: They're never consistent. Who knows how they do these things? Because it seems like they should have had to go to SIUE, and they scored those 2 early goals. Pretty good stuff.
No, yeah, it's incredible, and I was kind of the same way. I was a little surprised when I heard they made it. Definitely happy for them, and then hearing that they're going to play an undefeated SIUE that's had, I think, 3 ties but no losses, and I go, oh, that's a tough test. But you're right, 2 early goals last night, really fun. And now, I mean, you look at both of those soccer teams, both men's and women's. The women's play this afternoon in Fayetteville against Notre Dame. So both teams in the second round. I mean, very exciting times for the soccer program.
No doubt. And the women are special.
Very special, yeah.
I would be shocked, honestly, if the men continue this, because they got to go to North Carolina.
That's tough,
traditional program, 3rd in the country. They're good.
Yeah,
that's
a great
tough.
opportunity.
It's a great opportunity. They what they got now is it's all gravy. The women, on the other hand, I think they should beat Notre Dame because they shouldn't have been a 6 seed.
No, yeah, I agree. I don't know much about Notre Dame's team, but I mean, when you watch this women's soccer team, and if anybody that's been following this season or the previous season or the one before that, I mean, you know, like you said, this team's special, and they've got a great coaching staff. They've recruited at a really high level internationally, and have brought in some really talented girls.
They do that. They play today, right?
Yeah, today at 3:00.
3:00.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the weather is like there. Probably hope it's better than
hope so.
It is right here. Okay, and then tonight, here comes Tony Madlock. Yeah. His team is actually not terrible.
No, not at all.
They actually hung with Ole Miss. They were down by 1 with 12 to go. I think they led it to half. They hung with Iowa pretty well on the road. And then they played a Division III school. But they won by 64.
Yeah.
They defend. They hit threes. This is... Memphis is going to win the game.
Sure.
I'm not saying anything different like that, but could be a fun night.
No, it should be a really fun night, and Tony Madlock, what he's done as a head coach these past couple years has been really fun to watch. His son, TJ Madlock, kind of running the show down there, and he played at Houston High here when Tony was on staff with Penny, and a really good player. I remember going and watching him at Houston and expected big things from him in college, and he's doing some really nice things down there. But their team's really good. I mean, Amar Knox, who used to be committed to Memphis,
he was. He was a commit of Memphis, was a star at Bartlett High School. Yeah. Not a starter, but averages almost 10 points a game.
Yeah, and then they've got another guy, I think a 7-footer, a 7'1" center that they got from a JUCO. They've got a transfer from Georgetown. So, I mean, this is a very intriguing team. I know you're not a betting man, but they've covered both spreads in their first 2 games against D1 opponents. 30.5-point spread tonight for the Tigers.
Is that 30.5?
30.5. So a big line.
So do the Tigers get to 100 tonight? Would be my question.
Whew, they really could. I mean, this team has been really fun to watch. I mean, going back to that game against Missouri, that second half performance they put out really led it defensively, not offensively, which is what Coach Hardaway has been trying to kind of stress this offseason. They're a fun team. I mean, I think this team can easily go for 90 or 100 really any night, I think.
Well, it's interesting to me. They're now ranked 26th, also receiving votes, the first team on the AP poll. They were 25 Jeff Goodman. They were 21 Gary Parrish. CBS's David Cobbs, who's on at least 2 shows on this radio station. He actually has them today ranked 8th.
Wow.
Ahead of Creighton, which many people think Creighton's a top 4 team.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're there quite yet.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how good Missouri is. And don't forget, Missouri was not playing with Connor Vanover, a 7'5" guy, and they got out-rebounded by 20 rebounds. So, we'll wait and see, and we'll really know. Michigan right up.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you win that, probably Arkansas. So you're going to know about this team in the next week. But top 8? Ooh, man. Hope that's right.
I hope so.
This will be really fun if it is. It's the last time Rick Stansbury's the head coach tonight. That's been a fun story.
It has been fun, and I thought he's done a great job. Obviously, I mean, me and Brett talk about this all the time on Sports Time. Of it's nothing better than to be able to if you're suspended as Penny Hardaway was to look over and say, hey, Rick Stansbury, who has all this experience as a head coach at a high level in college basketball, step up. You're in charge for these 3 games, and it's been fun to watch. I've really enjoyed kind of some of the things he's done with this team, and has really kind of put a lot of trust in these guys early, and I think it's really paid off.
I do. Who do you think starts tonight?
I don't know. I think we might stick with the same lineup, but I wouldn't be surprised if they go
I don't
back.
think they will.
Really?
Here's what I think will happen.
Okay.
All right. I think Melko will stay in the starting position. Jordan Brown will come up, but Jordan Brown's going to get more minutes.
Sure.
But I don't see how you cannot start Caleb Mills. Yeah. He wants to be a starter.
Mm-hmm.
He's unbelievable defensively, which we didn't even realize.
Yeah.
Oh, he took that kid Sean East out of the game. Didn't even get a shot.
Yeah.
And I think it irked him that he wasn't starting. So I think this is just my hunch. I don't know.
Right.
I'll find out just like you when I talk to Rick Stansberry pregame.
Who comes off the bench then? If you put him in the starting lineup.
Then Nicholas Jourdain will move out. And I think that's perfect for Nicholas Jourdain. And I'll tell you what, I think he's got a chance to be sixth man of the year.
I think he really did. I've been so impressed with him. I mean, one of those guys that was one of the first transfers that Memphis picked up and then kind of got overshadowed because of all the names that came in. But I think he's done a really good job. I've been really impressed watching him.
He doesn't turn the ball over.
No.
And he's a good passer, and he can rebound, and I don't think he cares about scoring a lot of points. And that's what this team absolutely needs. Okay, here we are. Memphis had to win. After they lost to Tulane, they had to win every game. It's been scary, but they've done just that. So tomorrow, in essence, is an elimination game for either team to win the conference championship. What do you think happens at 11 a.m. at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium?
Well, hopefully we have a great crowd there tomorrow.
I think we will.
And I think we will too. There's been a lot of excitement. We've been giving out tickets this week on Sports Time, and it seems like a lot of people are eager to go and want a pair of tickets for that game. And I saw Jake Elliott gave out 2,500 tickets.
Yeah, he bought them and then just gave them away, and they went in 2 hours. 2,500.
So it seems like
and we just gave away two here, by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, it seems like there's a lot.
We're
of
all
excitement.
trying to contribute.
We're trying. We're doing our part, Dave. But I'm hoping it's a fun game. I said it earlier. This SMU team, when you look at the stats, very good offensively. I've been able to catch a couple of their games lately. Very good offensively. This quarterback they have has been really fun to watch. Defense has looked really good. They haven't been in a ton of close games, and so you're going to have to be near perfect if you're the Tigers tomorrow.
It is interesting in speaking with the coaches yesterday. I asked them about this quarterback.
Yeah.
His name is Preston Stone. Preston Stone was, well, I'm unsure on this, but I was told he's the highest rated recruit that they've ever had. Now, I would say clearly since the death penalty.
Sure.
I don't think there were so many great players that were brought on those SMU teams that they got the death penalty over. I can't believe that he's higher rated than some of those. Yeah. But when asked by Matt Barnes, straight out, I said, where does he rank in the quarterbacks we've seen? He says he's either 1 or 2.
Wow.
I said, really? Who would be the other one at 1? And he said, Cook, the kid at Missouri.
Yeah.
He said, this kid is better than Michael Pratt, the Tulane quarterback. Wow. Now, he struggled when he first came in.
Yeah.
Okay? So he's really a first-year kind of guy learning Rhett Lashley's offense. And so he didn't play great against TCU.
Right.
And Oklahoma was really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so those are their losses. They've been beating sort of the same kind of teams that Memphis have been playing. They've been beating them by 30.
Yeah.
So this kid is the real deal. My thing for Memphis tomorrow is they got to score.
Oh, absolutely.
This has to be a game in the 40s for Memphis to win it. Oh, they got to get to 40.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think this is, probably it feels like the past couple of weeks. Charlotte was a different story last week, but the 3 or 4 weeks before that, it seemed like it was all, okay, the defense you're playing isn't very good. You should be able to go out and score a lot of points. I think this will be different. This is a much better SMU defense, and so you're right. They need to get points on the board, need to get points on the board early.
35,000, Memphis gets to 40. It's a heck of a day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I love that.
Always, Brian, thank you. We'll listen to you with Brett 3 to 6 on Sports Time. That'll do it for us this week. This final portion brought to you by Grind City Brewing. They've been taking care of beerness in Memphis for a while. Now go down to the brewery right north of downtown. I mean, literally just north. It's 2 minutes. And you get a great view of the skyline. You get a great view of the bridges. They got a beautiful picnic area and a great modern building. And you can get Poppy's Pills, just what the doctor ordered. That's their number one seller. It's a Pilsner that everybody loves. There's the God Hopper. That's the pale ale. That's probably seller number 2. There's the Amber Lager called Thaddeus. If you love Blue Moonish kind of things, Belgian-style wheat ale, they got a Belga. They got something for you, and it's fun times. It's a taste of Memphis. It's Grind City Brewing downtown, taking care of beerness in Memphis. We'll see you tonight at FedEx Forum. We'll reconvene on Monday. Johnny Radio's next. Have a great weekend, everybody.